Hey YouTube, this is Brian here. I'm going to be doing a top 10 favorite video games list in no particular order. Like a lot of you guys on YouTube, I think that gaming's always been a huge aspect of my life, for better or worse. You know, sometimes I've stayed up way too late on a school night and gotten some shitty grades. Other times, it's been a big building block of socialization through multiplayer when I can actually get my Wi-Fi to work. Um, no, Nevertheless, let's get to the list. Number one is WWF No Mercy. This is probably my favorite wrestling game now. It's an impressive technical achievement for the time, considering this came out in the year 2000 for the Nintendo 64. They're able to fit all this on here. Uh, awesome creator wrestler mode, expansive season mode with a branch for each title belt, and consider how many title belts they had back then. They had the European Championship, they had the Hardcore Championship, some that aren't even around anymore. I don't think they've ever done that kind of branching story mode, and WWE's story modes have kind of sucked since then. They haven't really had a great GM or season mode in years. Um, this game also had a ton of different match types and a great roster. I wish it had more cost slots, creator wrestler slots, um, because there's only like 15, I think. But you could still make anyone from today's roster, and you can make them perfectly. It's a benchmark game, I think, and I played so many hours on this. Um, I think this game is why people still get Project 64 64 years later. Number two on my list is Grand Theft Auto San Andreas for the PC. I don't really like violence that much generally, at least not heavy violence, like bloody, gory, like torture or murder, that kind of stuff. So I bet you're wondering, why did I pick this game, of all things, Grand Theft Auto, for someone who's kind of a snowflake like me. I think it's because the cartoony, blocky graphics like this make the whole thing feel a little bit less gory, and so uh, I can enjoy the rather primitive graphics with the awesome soundtrack that they put in there. A lot of licensed music, as the series is famous for, so you can drive along in the car you just stole and shoot somebody while listening to Billy Idol or Creedence Clearwater or something. And that's always fun, at least not when it makes you squint because it's so realistic, like the console games from recent years, which I have played and I do own, and I think that I think I made it up to the point where the mission where the guy is getting tortured and you have to like torture him to advance, and it's like, ew, I don't want to have to go through that. That's kind of gruesome. Overly heavy. Next up on the list is MLB The Show 17. I could have put any of the installations from this series into the spot because, frankly, yearly video game installations don't change that much from year to year most of the time. I think that 16 or 15 or 14 wouldn't have been that much different if I put them here, and 18 probably wouldn't have been that much different either. And I hope that 19 will be, but I doubt it. Number four on my list is Pokemon Crystal version, one of my favorite games as a kid. You know, Playing it on the Game Boy Advance, I felt like I'd gone to the future because I was such a fan of the TV show when I was like a small kid. I was like born right into the fad. Uh, but this game was so much fun. I can't play it as much now because unfortunately I have epilepsy and some of the flashing kind of bothers my eyes. Number five on my list is a really fun arcade shoot 'em up. It's a Raiden 2. You fly like a fighter jet, and you have like endless wave after wave of helicopters and things coming at you. And this game, you could just kill hours playing it, I think. Number six on my list is Smash Brothers, the first installation from the Nintendo 64. Um, this is another reason why I think that people still get Project 64 64 years later, if I didn't already mention that, because this game is so much fun. Could have a bigger roster, but the fact that every character is so unique and individualized, and they all play differently. It's not just like the same versions of one guy over and over again, you know. Because some fighting games are like that, where it's like a retextured version of the same dude. Um, Anyways, this game has spawned numerous sequels, and I think you can see why. Number 7 on my list is also from the Nintendo 64, is Pokemon Stadium. I like this more than the sequel, personally. I feel like even though the 3D models are a little better in the second one, I like the attack selection that each Pokemon was given in this game a little bit more than in the second one. I think they got kind of crappy move sets in the second one. Let's get to number 8 on my list is Sid Meier's Pirates. I think this game has a lot of um, fun management elements, or like GM mode kind of games, you know, like if you play the Sims games. There's a lot of things to manage in this game, but you can also sail around and get into ship battles and add to your fleet, and so it's a fun balance. I think the version that I played particularly was Sid Meier's Pirates 2 for the PC. It came out in the mid 2000s. Number 9 is a similar game in terms of genre, Zoo Tycoon 2. I love animals in real life, but I'm a horrible zookeeper, and I always just like stuck lions and anything they could possibly eat into the same cage, and it was it was a fun game to create some havoc as a little kid. Number 10 on my list is MVP Baseball '04. I think that without games like this, we probably wouldn't have MLB The Show, which is uh, one of my favorite games of all time, you know? This is kind of almost like MLB The Show on Xbox, and similar to what I said about No Mercy earlier, this is also kind of a impressive achievement for the time, considering that this came out, I think, in 2003. They usually use the year before the year in the title, I think. Um, so this had a lot of players kind of hanging around from the tail end of the steroid era, and so the rosters are pretty fun to hit home runs with. Um, a lot of the Hall of Famers who we grew up with, they're all kind of like 38-year-olds in their final year of their contract in this game, which kind of sucks. But um, overall, MVP Baseball '04 is a ton of fun, and I think it's the best game on the Xbox. Um, Halo fans will probably dislike that comment, but I guess we all have our own opinions. And in the future, we'll see if we were right or wrong in terms of spending so much time playing games. It feels like it was right because it was so much damn fun, though.